Auto in a 4-bay shop and enjoyed every size shop and position up to the second largest Toyota dealership in the country. Mike has coached for the Automotive Training Institute since 2008. Currently, he is the director of client fulfillment, working closely with coaches and their members. Mike is also an AMI certified instructor and created the hiring and staffing class taught at ATI today. So thank you, Mike, for being here today.
Well, thank you, Pam, and thank you for making me feel old. I appreciate that. I will share my screen here, and we should be ready to go ahead and take off here. So yes, thank you. Been in the business for 35 years, been with ATI for 12, and I did build the hiring and staffing class. And one of the big discoveries I think I had building the hiring and staffing class is that most shop owners hate hiring and staffing their shops. It's probably one of the top 3, top 5 things they despise doing. And when I would go around through the class asking shop owners how many people they've actually interviewed, I was really surprised at the low numbers that they would tell me about. And then a lot of them would just say, yeah, it's no more than typically a conversation over the fender of a car. And then we kind of just shrug our shoulders and say, yeah, let's give this a try. So it was very interesting on the lack of energy and lack of tools that they put to this. So thought it was really important that we put something together, and so hopefully I can share some of that with you today. So building a bench, what's that mean? And I think what we've got to do is start with a story. And so my story is, why would you want to prepare to build a bench? And so I'm going to switch gears real quickly, and I'm going to take you out of automotive. For the next 30 to 45 minutes, guys and gals, you are no longer a shop owner or related to a shop. You are a college coach. Congratulations. And more specifically, you're a college lacrosse coach. So since you're a college lacrosse coach, you have 4 years to spend with an individual and take them from the start of their college career to the end of their college career. You have 4 years to put this group of young men together, and your goal is to build the best squad that you can possibly build, trying to get to the NCAA playoffs, because if you get to the NCAA playoffs, you get exposure. When you get exposure, you have opportunities to pick up good recruits. When you pick up good recruits, you pick up good boosters. When you pick up good boosters, you pick up good money. And that's what makes the program go round and round. So I'd like to take you back to 2013. A young boy by the name of Nick Haley was able to attend Mount St. Mary's College. It's the second oldest Catholic college in the United States. It's put up there just below Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and it's a Division I team. Coach Gravani is the coach, and Coach Gravani was trying to put a special team together that year so that he could make it into at least the Sweet 16 of the NCAA playoffs. And so to do that, you have to make sure you're recruiting in the right people. You have to make sure you're keeping the right people, and you even have to keep a couple people back. Red shirts, you guys have probably heard that expression before, where you red shirt a player, which means he is not eligible to play the games that year, so he can keep another year of eligibility. So what Coach Gravani did is that he kept 5 or 6 red shirts. He knew the incoming freshmen he had. He knew the current talent he had. And he picked 2013 as the year that they were going to go to the playoffs, and they were going to go ahead and go pretty deep in. And of course, he had lined some boosters up and lined some people to come out and take a look at them and really let them show off and display what they could do. So it is a spring sport. And obviously the school season is from September till May. And so this year we had a pretty well stacked team. We actually had 4 goalies. You need 1 goalie when you play, but we had 4 goalies. So we felt pretty comfortable and pretty stacked, and we had a good crew there. What could go wrong, right? So let's start school in September. And of course, everybody's excited to get back to school, and everybody's eager to study and eager to partake in everything that college has. And about a couple weeks into the college season, there was a party. And it must have been a really great party, because one of the goalies had a really great time. So good that the college asked him to please leave and never come back again. And so we lost that goalie relatively quick, but that's okay. We're down to 3 goalies. We're still going to be fine. Now we go through the Christmas break, and so everybody's home, everybody's with family, everybody's relaxing. One of the goalies was sitting in his room. He was playing Xbox, as college kids do, and he went to stand up. And when he went to stand up, he pulled his MCL, actually tore it. So now we're down to two goalies. Well, it's not a great situation, but things happen. We understand that. So season hasn't started yet, but we're going to start with two goalies. We feel pretty good about the two goalies that we still have. And of course, before the season starts, it starts at the end of February. In the beginning of February, we'll do some, uh, we'll play some scrimmages with some other teams. So we go up to Drexel, up out of Pennsylvania, and it's an artificial turf. And one of the goalies is playing the game. He's coming up the field to hand the ball off. He does a cut move. He tears his ACL. So before the season started, we started with four. Before the season started, we had one goalie. One goalie to go through the entire season is a impossible way to end up in the NCAA tournament. And so we went through everyone that had ever played on the team before. We asked if anyone had ever played goalie. Some had played when they were in rec league, things of that nature. Come to find out that the team manager, the equipment manager basically, he had played backup goalie when he was at his high school. So he was enlisted and he was now the backup goalie. So we went to our season with one goalie and with a backup goalie. We were not in an ideal situation, and needless to say, we did not make the playoffs that year. True story, it can happen, and I'm sure everyone can refer back to a time in their life when they had their goalies leave them for whatever reason, and they did not have the ideal in position. So the question I asked everybody is, are you ready when it happens? I know none of us have four backup master technicians right now. None of us have three backup service writers right now, and nor is that the expectation probably. But do we have backups for when it is ready? Again, how I started off this conversation is shop owners really do not like talking to potential candidates. They do not like interviewing. They do not like going out and recruiting. So it's very important that we help them, and it's very important that we have these discussions with them and get them to understand the importance of this. So are we ready when they quit or they get hurt? Or they decide they have to move out of the area, or just, I think we could, if we went around and asked everybody, we'd probably come up with at least a dozen reasons why people leave for whatever reason, and then are we ready to backfill that position? And a lot of times what we see is that we try to put the square peg in the round hole. The lube tech has now been ramped up to the B tech. The B tech has been asked to come on to the service drive to be the service manager. The owner now has to go back out and become the diagnostic A technician, and now we don't have an owner, or we only have a part-time owner. So I believe most shops have probably one move that they're ready for within their company. So if something was to happen, they could slide and shift maybe once and be okay. Not be strong, but just be okay. If they have to slide or shift anything more than one move, I think they're in big trouble. And I think hopefully you guys would all agree with me. So what am I talking about? What are we trying to do here? Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to fill out a succession chart. What is a succession chart? A succession chart is putting our best players in the best positions and making sure we've got people on training paths and on track to be ready for those next positions. So what this flow chart easily does, we look at it from the bottom up. So we have each position within our company, and the goal is to have not one backup, but two backups for each position. As we know, it's not if something happens, but when something happens. And we've got to be ready, and we've got to have the readiness to bring those people up into the next position. Obviously, also what we're dealing with is we're dealing with a shortage of talent in the industry. Depending what publications you read, depending where you believe we're at, we're anywhere between 50 to 70,000 technicians short today. We opened up the garage door and we did not see a toolbox against the wall because there was not a position to be filled in that. And so we're already short. So we're going to have to grow our own. We have to realize that. We have to find these young men and women that have some aptitude, have the twinkle in their eye, and we going to have to invest in them. So we're going to have to find people within our company, and we're going to have to train them. We're going to have to grow them. We're going to have to put them on a training path. We're going to have to put them on a training curriculum where they're learning certain skill sets within a certain amount of time frame. We're going to have to watch them. We're going to have to provide them feedback. We're going to have to give them both online training, classroom training, practical training, and then celebrate the little victories and make them part of our tribe, make them part of our culture, and make them feel like they're part of the family and have to grow them that way. Obviously, we only have so many people within our company, so we only have so many opportunities to do that. There's going to be also times where we're going to have to go outside and we're going to have to recruit for talent and have those people lined up as well. And so what this succession chart does, it helps you identify talent you have within your company that you're grooming for the next position, and talent that you're going to have to source outside of your company and where you are with that. The goal of this obviously is to have every position filled and not one, but two backups for every position. Again, the tech training curriculum, we're going to need to start everyone off where they are currently at, grade them, so to speak, and find out their current level of where they are, and then help them get to the next level by providing, again, online training, classroom training, practical training. We're going to have to find out from our ATECs who are true mentors, who can be true leaders and help train, and who are willing to spend the time and willing to provide good feedback and willing to develop these young men and women that we need to get them up to the next levels. And so having that systematically put out there so that it's by date, it's by class, by start, and by completion, and by observations, we can now put them on a path and a course that we can say, if you start on this date, and if you follow the trajectory and the classes given to you, you could accomplish this goal by X date. And so that's the goal. Keep the carrot out in front of them, keep the goal out in front of them, and it also helps us with our succession planning on knowing when our talent is going to be ready. Another thing we have to determine is, are we attractive for going to the outside and for people wanting to come work for us? What separates us from the shop next door to us, the shop down the street from us, the shop across town from us? Are we a fun place to work? Do we have a great culture? Are we a busy shop? What do our customers say about us? Obviously, when we show interest in a candidate, one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to go to our website, they're going to go to our Google pages, and they're going to be looking at us just as hard as we're looking at them. And what do all those things say? And when we invite them down to have a talk or a discussion with them at our shop, what does our shop say? And so we got to make sure that our house is in order and we've got everything laid out the way it should be laid out before we can even try to attract the best of the best. What competencies are we looking for? When everyone opened up their shop, they wanted it to be different. They wanted to do it differently than where they had previously worked. And there's certain qualities that they wanted to have the employees bring. And so I think one of the things the owners really got to sit down and do is they've got to sit down and write out the competencies that they're looking for in their employees. What you see on the screen now is just some of the competencies. They're in no specific order, and I'm not saying these are the only competencies or these are the competencies that you guys agree with. I'm just saying you want to make sure that you list out competencies that you want your employees to display every day so that you, again, what kind of business are you? What kind of business do you want to be? What kind of service do you want to provide? So making sure you understand who you are and who you want, very important before we start looking. We also need to address the reason someone would be looking. Not everybody's leaving or looking for the same reasons. Some of it could be they're not appreciated. Some of it is they didn't handle COVID well. Right now in the real world, they didn't handle COVID very well, and so they're very slow now, and they're not picking up as they thought they would, and so it's very hard for them to earn a living. There's no training. They've simply been stagnant since they started there. It's a small company, maybe there's no advancement, or there's no one's looking into them as far as the future of the company, so they don't feel like there's a place for advancement. there's no leadership within that company and they don't feel like they're being led, and maybe there's no engagement. It's just Barry, do your job and we'll see you later. And of course that's not a great atmosphere to be in. So there's a lot of reasons why people are looking, and we need to understand that and know that, especially when we're out there placing ads. We can't just place one ad and expect to get everyone that we would want. So I asked the question, what are you fishing with? What most owners and most people do is they will place one ad with one title, one attention grabber. And so that may help a segment of the people that are looking, but it doesn't solve everyone's issue. So what I would ask you to do is I would ask you to send out several ads. So is it, they want more time with the family. They want somewhere where they can be appreciated. They want to work in a place where they can be trained. They want to work in a place where it's a great culture, a great atmosphere. We need to write ads to address all those issues, and we need to do it all at the same time. So run several ads and see what grabs, and keep rotating the ads. As we get into different times of the seasons, we'll have different emotions going on and different reasons for looking. And so we want to make sure that we rotate our ads consistently. Also, post on your website. You should have career opportunities on your website. It should have a job description of what you guys do and what you're looking for. Also, why you're a great place to work. And then it should have a place for someone to attach a resume and or fill out an application. We lose a lot of opportunities by not having that tab on our website. So if you get with your web provider and please ask them to do that, I think that could help you as well. And also your social media. What we've been finding out too is that a lot of people, of course, with recent history here with COVID, they've been sitting home scanning their Facebook pages. And so we've been having a lot of success with social media. And again, showing fun people to work with, a fun atmosphere, and saying, hey, we're looking for great people. I believe in my heart of hearts right now, there are a lot of great salesmen, maybe not so much in the automotive repair industry, but a lot of great salespeople who are out of work right now and would love the opportunity to work for a company like yours if they only knew that you were looking for a salesperson. And so we've got to get that word out there, and I think social media is one of the best ways to do that. And so also, what makes you different? If you are the same as the shop across the street, if it's the same hours, if it's the same pay, if it's the same atmosphere, there's really no incentive for them to look. There's really no incentive for them to want to change. And so we've got to make it win-win for everybody. One of the biggest proponents that I am a fan of is a 4-day work week. When I was at the Toyota dealership, I just had taken it over, and we were currently a 5-day work week. And my boss came to me and said, Mike, we're going to have to, Toyota's changing their program. They want to do these quick lube services, and so they want to offer them on Saturday. So we're going to need to open up an extra day. Also, we just lost our president club. We just lost our president's club status because of our CSI scores. Our CSI scores are not doing well, and your technician morale is not very good. So I need you to fix those 3 things, and I need you to fix them pretty darn quick. So at the time I accepted that position, I thought it was probably going to be the quickest tenure of an operations manager at a Toyota dealership ever. And so probably out of desperation or whatever you want to call it, I said, well, what if we have enough personnel here, we got the talent, what if we spread this out and have them work a 4-day work week? And so I looked at the schedule, and I came up with a way to devise it and do it, and I presented it to the group. And they thought I was crazy. How can you do this? This won't work. How can I make my money in 4 days? And I said, guys, here's the win in it for the company. Here's the win in it for you. Here's the win in it for me. And so let's give it an honest 90 days. And a couple things came apparent pretty quick. One is we could write the schedule out from today till infinity, and everybody knew the exact days that they were working and the exact days they were off. What that cured was, hey, Mike, I have a dentist appointment. Hey, Mike, I have this other appointment. Hey, Mike, I have this this event to get to. They knew the schedule and they were off during the week, every week, and so they could schedule activities that they had to handle where normally they would be asking for time off. They could handle it with their regular time off. I also did it on a rotating schedule, so not everybody got stuck with the same days. And so at the end of I think it was a 5-week rotation, they were off 5 days in a row. They were off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And so they really enjoyed that. And so it didn't take long for them to come see me on that Wednesday, or excuse me, that Thursday, about 6 o'clock, and say, "Hey, Mike, I'm off for the next 5 days. Just want to let you know that, and want to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going up to the mountains. I'm going out to the beach. I'm going camping." And it didn't take me very long to get jealous and go, "Wow, this is a really great schedule. I wish the management could follow the schedule." But anyway, so it turned out to have a lot of benefits and a lot of perks, and when we made more money because we were more flexible with our hours. And then the next thing that started happening is I started getting calls from other Toyota master technicians. They're like, "Hey, I work over at this Toyota dealership, and I heard you guys are working a 4-day work week. Is that true?" And I would be very proud to say, "Well, yes, we are, and it's turning out to be a great thing." And they'd say, "Well, could I come in and could I talk to you and could I look at it?" And absolutely would love to have you. It was something different. It was something that was intriguing, and I believe today they still have that 4-day work week schedule. So something to consider, something to think about. More holidays. People enjoy time. What's important to people today? Time or money? Both are very precious. And when people are deciding to do something, they have to make a choice. I either have to give up money or I have to give up time. And so us as shop owners, if we can help them with the time part of it, I think that's a great benefit to offer. So more holidays. Could we offer a day off on their birthday? Could we offer them a floating holiday? Is there just something little in there we could do that makes a difference compared to our competitors? A gym membership. These Planet Fitness memberships are $10 a month. And so I know a lot of you think, well, they get a pretty good workout with me out in the garage, and that's probably true. But it's just the offering. Or could you do a family type setup? And anyway, it's just having the offering that no one else has. How about tenure awards? I know that we have some of our members that after 5 years, you get a savings bond. And so every 5-year increments, they'll give you a savings bond. It's just a little something saying, "Hey, thanks for being with us, and thanks you for providing us with great work and great service for how many years you've been with us." We have one out in Florida who at 10 years, he takes you and your wife out on a cruise for a long weekend cruise. Who wouldn't like to go out on a cruise for a thank you for saying, "You've given us 10 good years and we want to reward you with that, and we want to appreciate the wife too, because we know it's a sacrifice for her as well." And there's a company called Kumler Automotive in Ohio, and at 20 years, Mr. Kumler purchases a car for the employee. So he finds out what kind of car you want. It's not a brand new car, but he'll go to the auction and he'll buy you a car. He bought the service manager. It was a Toyota Tacoma. It was like a 1 or 2-year-old Toyota Tacoma. And that was the last one that I remember because I was talking to the service manager about that. And I just think those are fantastic ideas. And wouldn't you be willing to do something like that for someone that put that kind of time and energy into you and your company? Something else that's not very expensive, but it just says, "Hey, we're different and we care." How about pet insurance? You can get pet insurance for as low as $40 a month. And I'm not saying you have to pay the full $40. Maybe you do some type of split or some type of percentage. But how about offering pet insurance? Everybody knows that pets are part of the family, and that if you can, what does that say about you as a company, about you as an owner, if you're offering pet insurance? How about pay for volunteering? We have a lot of people that would like to volunteer. We have a lot of people that like to get out in the community and do things. And if we can't volunteer ourselves, how about we pay, $10 for every hour that they volunteered? So let's say they volunteered 8 hours somewhere on the weekend. We would write a check to that charity for $80 on their behalf. So just things like that. I want you guys and gals to think outside the box of what are some things I can do that would separate me from the rest of our competition. And I always try to say it, do it like Hemingway. Hemingway had a saying, "Write drunk and edit sober." So get out a piece of paper and get your favorite beverage out if that helps you, and just say, Money's not an object. Time isn't an object. I have nothing stopping me from having all these crazy benefits, and write them down and then go back to it and revisit it. And you're going to say, well, I can't do that, but I could modify it and make it this. And that's where a lot of these ideas came from writing drunk and editing sober. Providing tools. I think this is becoming more and more in vogue, and I think it may become, I don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime, but I think pretty soon a shop will be providing tools for their employees. And so they won't have to be investing the $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 into tools, and we'll be providing that for them. Someone who's starting out in the program, an apprentice, could you give them a starter box, a nice box with the tools they need, and then allow them to have that box, and that'll become their box if they complete your apprentice program and become a flat rate technician for you. Short-term and long-term disability insurance. They're not a big investment, and however, it just builds that portfolio of all the benefits that you can offer an employee. Provide training path. I think that's big. People really want to know that you're going to invest in them. You're going to do paid training for them, and you're willing to do that. Here's one that came up recently, and I really like it. Financial classes. Dave Ramsey, I think we've all heard of Dave Ramsey. They do financial classing, and wouldn't it be great if we could offer that class to all our employees so they know how to pay down debt, how to write a budget, and how much, once they get that education and get that experience, how much would that help us in our lives? Because we know they're always stressing money, they're always stressing finances, and so let's help them out with that. And let's go ahead, and if we don't pay for the class, let's put money towards the class or reimburse them if they pass the class. Something that just says, hey, we care, and we care about you not just as an employee, but we care about you and your family too. And then maybe matching contributions. Maybe they're really into some type of charity, and besides time, they also donate money. Could we match it dollar for dollar up to a certain dollar amount? And again, just showing we care about them as a person, not just as a technician or a service advisor for us. So those are just some ideas of thinking outside the box and offering something that not everybody does. And so here's probably the meat and potatoes of today is, where do you get these people? I know everybody was probably thinking of that when we started here. And take automotive out of it, just any industry. 75% of all jobs gained are by networking. Somebody knowing somebody that got you in front of the right person. The reason I'm here with ATI today is that I knew Brian Stosh. Me and Brian Stosh went to high school together. Me and Brian Stosh by accident went into the automotive field together. We were pretty much opposite, but we kept in touch. And then he brought me over to ATI. The reason George Zeeks is with our company is because he knew Randy Summers, and him and Randy Summers had worked in a previous life together, and he brought him over. Just about everybody in our coaching department has worked with another coach within our department in another life, and we networked them in. There's comfort levels to that. There's you know the competencies, you know their training skill set, you know what kind of job they're going to do, and so that's how jobs are gained. And again, that's why it's very uncomfortable for shop owners. A lot of them, not a lot of them, but some of them are introverted, and it's very unnatural for them to go out and strike up conversations. It's very unnatural for them to go to places they don't normally go to and strike up conversations. So we've got to help them and get them involved in things that puts their toe in the water and then allows them to go further and further in. Getting involved in B&I groups, very important. And there's a whole bunch of other industries and a whole bunch of other individuals you'll meet, and you never know who has a cousin, an uncle, a brother-in-law, or someone that is related in the automotive industry that you would have never met otherwise. Job fairs. I know a lot of us get discouraged by going to job fairs, but I think it's very important to go out to the job fairs. And again, if you have a lot of benefits that not everyone else is offering, I think you now become very attractive. And I think whenever you can sit on a board and you know talk to young men and women about career paths and career choices, and sit on committees, again, that exposes you to a lot of people and a lot of conversations. And then something just as simple as changing your routine. I know most of us, if you're like me, you get up, You drive to work, you take the same drive to work every day, the same roads at the same time, and you stop at the same place for coffee, and you pretty much see the same people doing the same thing at the same time. What if you changed up your routine and drove a different way to work and stopped at a different coffee shop and struck up a conversation with someone else and just handed out your card and just pay forward on some coffees and just introduce yourself? What kind of different results could you get? Also for training, invite your technicians that are not in your company, but in the companies around you. Invite them to your training. If you're going to do a vendor sponsor and trading event, have it at your shop. Invite them in. We're all in this together. This is not trade secrets or anything secret that we're going to be training. So invite them in and let them partake in that. Let them let them sit in and let them see what kind of people, what kind of shop and what kind of owners you are. I think that's really helpful. Keeping in touch. The best technician I ever got, his name was Derek Davis, and I did not put out an ad, and Derek answered the ad, and we sat down for an interview, and it was on a Friday, and he started 2 Mondays from then. Didn't go like that. So what happened was I heard about Derek, and I reached out and had a discussion with Derek, and I met Derek for lunch one day, and we had a really good lengthy discussion. He told me about who he was and about what he was looking for, and I told him who I was and what I was looking for, and he was pretty happy where he was at the moment. And so I knew Derek was not ready to leave where he was currently at that day. And so what I had to do is I had to stay in touch with him. And so what I did at every holiday, I called Derek on his cell phone, and 99% of the time I was leaving a message. And it was something like, so July 4th coming up, I would say, hey, Derek, it's Mike. Just wanted to wish you and your family a great 4th of July. If you're going out of town, please be careful. And nothing has changed on my end. I am still interested when anything changes on your end. So please keep in touch and have a safe holiday. And so I did that probably for about 9 months. And then one of the holidays I called, and probably within about 2 hours, Derek was calling back. And Derek goes, Mike, are you still looking? And I said, absolutely, Derek, I am. He goes, are you going to be there tonight? I said, I am now. And he said, okay, I'll see you after work. And so he came down, we had a discussion, and Derek turned out to be my #1 producer. And that was back in 1995. And me and Derek are still friends today. So that's what it takes. It takes tenacity. It takes building relationships. It takes always inviting, making them part of it, and letting them being transparent and building that bench and putting the backups in play so that you've got resources to go to. And that is my story, guys. Are there any questions? I couldn't have done that great of a job. There's no questions.
Well, I thought you did great, Mike.
Everybody always asks me, Mike, I see that succession chart. Did you ever fill out that succession chart? Have every position filled? And I can honestly answer that question that yes, I had filled it out one time in my life, in my career, and it lasted for all of 2 weeks. So I had it all filled out. I was feeling good. I actually had that sheet printed out and put it on my board. I looked at it I worked it every week and really honed in on it once a month. I carved out about an hour and a half to work on it. Had it filled out completely. And then about 2 weeks later, a service manager came to me and said, Mike, I got to have a conversation with you. He goes, my wife just got a promotion, and it's a great promotion. It's a great opportunity. We're going to be moving from Maryland, and we're going to be going down to Florida. And the right answer and the right response should have been, I am so happy for you and your wife, and congratulations, and I wish you all the best. But did Mike say that? No. Mike said, do you know what you're doing to my chart? I had this chart filled out, and you're messing up my chart. And so after I blurted that out, then I said, oh, hey, congratulations, and wish you all the best. But so that's my story on filling out the chart. It's easy to look at, but it's very hard to fill out.
I see a lot of ads on Facebook.
Yes.
Now, especially right now, for guys looking for service advisors and technicians. So I probably see about 3 or 4 a week on Facebook. So,
There's a lot of great salespeople outside of our industry that have good organizational skills, are great at selling features and benefits, and if we taught them our way, would be great at our counter. I just don't know that we've done a great job of explaining that in social media, and a great job of explaining that to people that are looking for work that would consider working a service desk. We have that stigma of, well, to work on a service desk, I've got to know everything there is to know about a car. And so we've got to, as a group, as an industry, we really got to work on that, because some of the best writers I've ever had didn't come from this industry immediately. Probably the best one I ever had actually sold movie rooms for houses. They sold the media rooms, and so he was probably my best guy, because when he saw those high dollar tickets, he didn't freak out. He just said okay, and he'd go over and talk to the customer and sell them on the features and benefits very calmly and very, you know, with a lot of a lot of confidence. And he'd come back and say, yeah, we're ready to go, and our jaws were in our lap going, how did you do that? And he's like, it's all features and benefits. And so he taught us kind of how to sell, and it was pretty interesting.
great. Well, thanks again, Mike, for being on here. And you can go like this. This is a applause, Zoom applause.
Oh, here you go.
So
How's that?
yeah, that works too. So, well, thank you everyone for being on. And Brenda, what do we have happening next week?
We have Malin Newton joining us.
Great. And then on July 9th, we'll have Bob Redding from ASA National, our ASA National representative in Washington, D.C. will be on, talking about all the different legislation going on. So we got some great classes coming up over the next month, and I think we're all lined up all the way through July just about. So looking forward to seeing everyone next week, and thank you so much for everyone being on.
Hey, Jeff, Jason here. I just wanted to thank you and Brenda for the constant emails you guys are sending out, because Brenda, the one that said kicking off in 5 minutes, caught my attention. So I sure appreciate that. Yeah, hello to everyone with ASE. Mike, great presentation. I love all the outside the box thinking you're doing there for attaining talent. Nice job.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that.
Good to hear your voice, Jason.
Yeah, I didn't fall off the deep end. I've just been focused on other things, but awesome to see my automotive peeps again. So glad everyone's doing well.
You betcha. You take care, huh?
I sure will. And thank you all.
Okay, thanks everyone.